Well, hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining us for another conversation here on the Level Up podcast. Happy Tuesday. Taylor, how are you this Tuesday?
I am doing so great. If you are watching on YouTube, you'll see a small shift in the way we are showing up here. Kelly and I are in some back-to-back wedding weekends, and the gear is charging and the tripods are all put away in the cases. So we didn't break out the nice camera. So we're here on our webcams. Hopefully you guys don't mind too much, but it was a little bit of a breath of fresh air this morning getting ready for the podcast, if I'm being totally honest. But yeah, just coming off of a great wedding weekend this last weekend, a little 2-dayer here in Napa. It was absolutely incredible. And for me personally, this was such a fun little full circle moment because I got to shoot alongside Willow and Ben, who are photographers in the Napa area, who were actually in our mastermind a few years ago. And so it's so fun to be working with a team who has gone through our program and who is now I don't know, who I got to work with. And it was just really fun. And it was a really fun collaborative time. The design was insane. Actually, Kelly, you had said as I was rolling out some posts, you're like, this is the perfect Taylor Petrinovich bride. And it really was. It was so colorful. The bride was gorgeous, and so cute and trendy and up with the times. And so I don't know. I just feel very fulfilled right now as far as someone in the wedding industry. And I know you came off of a really great wedding this weekend too, where it was the perfect 618 bride.
Yes, it really was. We were talking about how it was our perfect ideal clients for the weekend. And the most fun part is this year has really been a year of legacy for our clients. We have shot so many additional siblings from families that we've had the privilege of shooting their older son or daughter's wedding. And so it's just been so fun. And 618 is really a legacy brand, and we're really big on that and family centered. And so it's really cool to see everything that your business stands for come through in the clients that you get to serve, in the weddings that you get to shoot, and even stylistically what you're really drawn towards as, that ideal client. So there's just nothing better. There's nothing more fulfilling. There's nothing where you leave the weekend being it's all working, when you leave and you're this one was just right for my brand. And so I love that. And so yeah, this wedding, it was the fourth daughter of a family that we've had the privilege of shooting. We did their first daughter's wedding in 2014, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So it's literally been 11 years now of working alongside this family. And I actually was getting little misty moments throughout the day, thinking it feels like the end of an era. They have one more son to get married. We'll see if that ends up working out, but they're just such a great family. So I was so grateful. Okay, shifting gears though, over to level up things. In 2 weeks, if you have not had a chance to sign up for our brand new, this is not a replay, this is not a rinse and repeat workshop that we've done. This is a brand new training called Your Most Profitable Year Yet. If you are a filmmaker or photographer who's earning less than $200,000 in revenue per year, this workshop is for you. Taylor, what are we going to be uncovering in this workshop?
Okay, first of all, can I just say how excited I am about this one? Because if you have been listening to the podcast for any length of time, you'll know that I am the more, I would say, business minded naturally of Kelly and myself. Kelly is the artistic side and I'm the more businessy side. And so I'm just so excited. And actually in today's episode, Jayla is our guest and we're gonna be talking about money stuff. So it's perfect timing. But inside this workshop, we're gonna be covering honestly a ton, but three of, I would say, the highlights that we're going to be going over with students is how to create your profitable positioning formula, which is essentially how to stand out in a really saturated market and attract those high value clients every single time. We don't want you just getting one great wedding a year or two great weddings every year. We want every single one to feel profitable and fulfilling in both ways, artistically and profitably. We're going to talk about referrals that scale. We did just come off of another workshop that we did over at the Level Up Co. called Referrals on Repeat. And so we're actually going to be diving a little bit deeper and taking a small, a shifted approach in teaching that. So we're going to talk about how you can create this system of referrals as a photographer or a filmmaker to build a steady stream of high budget bookings. And then this is my favorite part. We're going to be going over our next year's profit plan. So if you're not already looking to 2026, then this is your sign that you should be. We're going to map out your revenue so you can really confidently forecast your best year ever and create a game plan on how to actually make that happen. I kind of said this in the podcast episode, you'll hear me say it, but honestly, like achieving your goals is not just going to be like wishing them into reality. You can't just like look in the mirror and be like, I'm going to be successful and like it just happens. Like, no, you actually have to do things, make things happen, put systems in place in your business, shifts in order to get that result that you're looking for. And I think so many people shy away from money talk in this industry, which I understand. It can be like a bit of a taboo subject, but we're hoping to peel back the layers, like, shift the curtain so that you can peek behind the scenes and we can really like do what we need to do to create profitable businesses for ourselves. And Jayla hit this perfectly within this episode as well. It's not just about the money. Like it's not about hitting $100,000 in your business or $200,000 in your business. It's about what that money means for you in your actual life. It is about being able to pay for your children's education, buy a home, help your like maybe older parents who need a little bit of financial assistance. Like it has actual impact in your life and in the lives of people around you. So that's why we're doing this workshop this time. We couldn't be more excited. If you want to sign up, it's completely free. You can go to thelevelupco.com/workshop in order to save your seat. And it's happening over 2 days. And we do recommend coming to both days because it's not just like we're doing the same thing 2 days in a row. It's a true 2-day workshop where it's building off of each other in order to give you like the full curriculum, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's very comprehensive. So block off October 14th and 15th to come and learn with us. We would be so honored to have you. Again, this is not just a fluff workshop. This is real tangible takeaways and implementation secrets that we're excited to share with you because over here at the Level Up Co, we love transparency. We love businesses that have longevity, and that truly means having profitability to be able to keep you in this crazy, wild, but fun industry. Being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. And so just building in these profitability practices is what's going to help you be able to see past, that 5-year burnout phase and past that, 10-year burnout phase and really keep you in this industry that you love, that you entered because you love what you do. And let's just help you stay there and continue to scale. So head over to thelevelupco.com/workshop, and we will see you on the 14th and 15th.
Yes. Okay. And so without further ado, I know this has been a more lengthy intro. Hopefully you're still sticking with us, but we are bringing on Jayla Renee Photography, who is based in Michigan. She's a very talented photographer who to us feels very inspiring because she is looking at her business in a way where she's understanding the moves that she needs to make in order to see her goals like come to fruition. And we couldn't be more proud of her. Over the last, so 2025, between 2025 and 2026, she reveals in this episode that she is averaging over $2,000 more for next year. And like, how incredible. Expanded over 13 weddings, $26,000 more that she'll be bringing in next year is just amazing. Like, again, this is not just dollars on a spreadsheet. This is actual impact in her life. So we couldn't be more proud of her. And if you are one of those photographers or filmmakers who wants that for their own business, you're like, I want to raise my prices. I want to be doing more fulfilling weddings. I want to be providing for my family a little bit better. Then stick around, listen to Jayla, and kind of the practices that she put into place in order to get there are going to be really impactful for you too. This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich.
And I'm Kelly Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help wedding filmmakers and photographers level up their businesses so you can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here.
Well, Jayla, Kelly and I are so excited to be chatting with you on the podcast today. How are you doing?
I'm good, and I'm so excited to be here. Such an honor. So thank you both for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, well, we are just so proud of all of the growth that you've undergone over the last several months, and your work is so beautiful. Actually, Kelly and I, we talk about this a lot on the podcast, but we spend like 20 hours a week on the phone, and we bring you up pretty often. We're just like, have you seen what Jayla's doing? She's killing it. Her work is so good. So I think it'll be really nice to hear your story. It's so inspiring to other photographers and filmmakers out there who are on a similar journey to you, maybe a step or two behind, and really looking to people who just recently scaled their businesses or who are currently like in the trenches, so to speak, kind of hearing about what is working for you, what your challenges are, and things like that. So we're excited to dive into all things Jayla's journey. But before we do that, would you mind just introducing yourself to the listeners in case they're not familiar with who you are, and maybe just give like a little bit of like an intro story of how you got started in the industry?
Oh my goodness, yes, I'd love to. My name is Jayla. The business is Jayla Renee. Went through many business name changes. So started as my last name is Rixie. It's Dutch, so it's kind of complicated on how you spell it. So I thought it was cool. It's spelled Rykse, but you pronounce it Rixie. So I'm like, let's be cool. Let's make it Rixie. So anyway, so what was it? 2016, January of 2016, I bought my first camera, and it kind of started off part-time. My husband and I, we were doing youth ministry together, and we just needed some extra income. So picked up the camera and did everything under the sun. I mean, truly, I think when you begin photography, you do everything. If it's a picture of a dog, like, you take it. If it's $5, like, you do it. So I did everything. Then I went full-time 2021, which was when I really felt the desire to get into this like luxury market. And I say that because I didn't even know what it meant. I thought, oh, someone else seems more consistent, or their work is more consistent. I'm sure they're making more money. I want to try to do it. So I went to my first editorial in Charleston, which, I mean, it's so charming there. I'm with Nikki Marie, actually. So shout out to Nikki. And I just aspired to be like her and the clients that she had. And so that kind of kicked off the introduction to what I know now is like the luxury market and the industry and how vast it is actually. And so since 2021, I started really just trying to go on the trajectory of entering into this luxury market. And I learned a lot here and there, and I did a mentorship here and there. I did the free courses here and there, and everyone said something different. So it felt a lot like I would never get there, honestly. Almost every time I did something, I would try something. Then I'm like, okay, maybe that wasn't it. And then I'd listen to something else, and I'm like, okay, I'll try that. So I felt like I was stuck, truly. So before I did Level Up, the Mastermind, I just felt stuck in a place of like, is it A through Z? Is it more reels? Is it more, I don't even know, like, is it more showing my personal life and my kids and my husband? And, I like what you guys said in the Mastermind. You said, like, the what is it called? The barbecue self, right? Your backyard barbecue, stain on your shirt self. Like, I'm like, everybody wants that. So I did that. And then I finally entered into the Mastermind, and you just like broke it down. It wasn't A through Z. It's like black and white. Everybody can do it if you really like just take the steps that you guys had. And it like helped me go like this. Like, I feel like at first you're kind of just like catching everything that goes by, and then you guys just like laser beam it. And I think truly I'm so grateful. Like, my girls even say, is that Taylor and Kelly talking? So they like know the word luxury. They're like, literally a couple days ago, Haven's like, Mom, what's luxury mean? And I'm like, where did that come from? She said, the girls you talk to all the time, they say that word. So all that to say is like, I really do believe that it's like laser beam. And I can even tell some of my friends in the industry, they're like, you've changed how you have been posting. You've changed how you have showed up to Instagram. And I'm like, that's a good thing. Like, that's what I want. And it has shown in, the ROI. It's shown in the return of the investment. And I'm so grateful. There's so much in between all of that. But the biggest thing was like, I felt stuck. I felt like it was A through Z. You'd be at G, then you're back to A, and then you're like at Y. It was wild. And it's just like, boom, it's black and white.
I'm imagining like a Candyland board where you're like in the carts and you're like almost to the castle, and then you do the next one and it's like back to the ice cream mountain at the beginning. Like, that's how it sounds.
Yes, that's exactly what I felt like. And my husband said, if you rebrand one more time, like, I was to a point where, because it's thousands of dollars, or you're investing into SEO, thousands of dollars, all the things, right? Like the website rebrand. And so I was like, no, let me just do this one more time. And Jayla Renee felt right. It just did. It felt right. And so to be already Jayla Renee, which I rebranded last year, and then to have gone into the mastermind when I did, it was just like the cherry on top.
Yeah, you didn't need, many of our students either go through that full complete rebrand or just refinements through a refresh, and you fell more into that refresh category. There's so many students that come from different levels of their needs. I think that's such a great thing about the program as well, that like some people maybe will be steps ahead of others, but it's not that those who are steps behind are going to get left behind.
Right.
We're bringing everybody up. It's
Mhm.
just that some have more heavy lifting to do in some areas, more in the branding areas, where others may have more heavy lifting to do in the artistry or even just the systems and processes that they're using. And so, what I saw in you, and I remember, I believe you talked to Taylor before you joined Mastermind, and I
Mhm.
remember Taylor telling me, she's like, Jayla is so adorable. Her house is like so cute. She has this like adorable aesthetic. And it's so funny too, because I felt like before there was like a disconnect between like your personal aesthetic and like your brand aesthetic. And
Yeah.
it's cool now to see that cohesion. Not that we need to bombard our business with our personal things, but it's nice to have a little bit. It brings warmth to the brand. It brings, I think, also authenticity to the brand. And you have just done such a great job. And I can see the difference too, based on how you're showing up on social media. The way that you're sprinkling bits of your family and personal life is like just right, exactly what we tell you as far as like percentage wise of what's great to include. And I'm just so proud of you. You literally have been one that has, we give you the roadmap and you're like, noted. I'm going to do exactly what you tell me to do. And it's worked for you. I'd love to hear, when you were entering into this 2025 season, what was kind of your average, because you hadn't yet been a part of Mastermind, and now looking into like 2026, and I don't know if you're looking into 2027 just yet, but what does that look like price point wise, or just like the weddings that you're shooting now?
Yeah, okay. I did the math. So I didn't do the math. I was actually scared during the mastermind. You guys said do the average. So I'm like, my heart was racing, and I didn't do it until a couple weeks ago because I said I want to tell them. So I did it with my husband, and I've been talking to my friends about it. So in 2024, I did 16 weddings, and the average was 5,700. And I like my heart like was like that's it, because I've made over 100K over the last 4 or 5 years, but I was doing 30 senior sessions and like 30 family sessions and weddings. So the whole goal since like 2 years ago was to only do weddings and make over 100,000. So anyway, I'm backtracking, sorry. So in 2024, I had 16 weddings. In weddings alone, I made 92,000. The average was 5,700. This year, 2025, I did 14 weddings, so two less. I have it on my notes. Two less, I made 94,000 just weddings alone, but the average was 67,000. So I was like, okay, like it's going up. Next year, I've got 13 weddings. The average is 87. I said thousand. Did I say 80? Sorry, 6,700. It's
Yeah.
8,700
Yeah.
for next year, and I'm making 108. So to
It's
see like
happening.
it's happening. And so to see like the 8,700 average was super cool. From the 57 to the 87, I was like, oh my gosh, like it works, like I'm seeing what I'm doing, and and the fact that I'm even doing less is like
Yeah.
mind blowing to me. I'm like, okay, and it doesn't have to be like, okay, you can only increase your price once. I think that's such the mentality of maybe the more like budget industry of like, you can only increase it, like your price by 500 once a year. And I feel like it's like, no, you don't. Like, you can increase it if you have, two people who say yes or two clients who say yes. And it's like,
The
go up
demand is there.
$500.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
So it made me like, I feel like the program really helped me talk money. And that's just like such
Mm.
a taboo topic for some reason. I don't really know why. Um, but money's out there and it's okay. Like couples, like that's just kind of what life revolves around. It's how you live, it's how you shop, it's sending your kids to school. Like you need it, right? Like you all need it. And so it's not being stingy or prideful. I think I had to get out of a mindset of like I need money. It's like, no, that's not the heart behind it. It's like, no, it helps you live a lifestyle that you desire to live, and that's okay.
Yeah.
On top of having clientele that you love and having couples that you want to serve, and doing it the right way and being consistent through it all, I think is like so key.
No,
Yeah.
okay. I love like this path that we're going down because so many of our podcast episodes we do talk so much about like the artistry or the marketing or things like that. I am down to talk money, like you know
Yeah,
me. I That's like my most favorite topic just because like you mentioned it's such a taboo topic that I feel like it's actually really powerful when people are willing to talk about it. And ever since you introduced yourself at the beginning of the podcast, I saw that as a through line. You said my husband and I were in youth ministry. I picked up a camera because we needed some extra
same.
money. And
Mhm.
that's actually similar to my journey. Like, I knew I wanted to start a business, and I was like, but what can I do? I have this skill, let's monetize. And then, like, fell in love with it along the way, of
For
course, like we
sure.
all do. Um, let's talk about, I'm like doing math in my head. So, for 2026, your average price point is $2,000 more than your average for 2025. So over 13 weddings, that's a $26,000 immediate ROI. Like
Yeah.
if you expand it like that. And then
Yeah.
imagine how it's going to be for 2027 and then 2028. Like just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Once you learn the systems that you need and set yourself up on a trajectory, like the cash really does like start kind of flowing in and all the weddings you do are so exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's huge. I think that piece, and again, I'm not, it's hard because I'm not saying that I'm thankful for the weddings that I do, all of them, but it does, when you get excited about going to work, right? Like outside of photography, outside of an entrepreneur, if you like going to work, you're excited. So, and there are certain days that you probably like going to work more than others. So when you get these clients and you get this ideal client, not shunning other people, but everyone has their own ideal client. It's like, no, I'm so excited and I want to bring a team and I want them to be excited and I want to capture the luxury and the florals and really, I feel like these luxury weddings, the couples are so intentional to make it so specific to them. And I think that you're not getting into all these trends necessarily. I feel like the
Yeah.
budget market has so many trends and they're really late to the game anyway, where I feel like these entry level luxury couples, within that investment for photography, it's like they really care about their guests and they want it all to be about the experience. And so to be able to go to an experience for a wedding
Yeah.
weekend, it's so fun. Like,
Yeah.
give
So
me more.
fun.
I only want more. It's like, it's so fun to tell a whole story. So I love it.
I
I
love
love it.
that. You also had mentioned just some mindset shifts that occurred for you when it came to the talks about money and you kind of being like, oh, no, like I deserve this. It's not a bad thing to seek after the fact that I want to be, compensated for my work and my artistry. And it's very fulfilling for me. And I would love to hear, like, maybe what were some other mindset shifts that you can look back on, say, maybe a year ago that you didn't realize were like sticking points that were holding you back or just misconceptions that you had in your mind mindset wise when it came to like high end clients and all that.
Oh, that's so good. I think there's so much that I've learned. I think one of it is one basic one is like I can still be myself. You guys have said it multiple times. Like Taylor, you've got the minivan. Like I think it was just refreshing to hear. I told my husband so many times. I was like, Taylor and Kelly, they have kids. There were so many mentors or people who offered mentors. I'm like, well, you don't have kids. Like for me, like that's so important because it's like I have kids. I have the van. We have like a house where like I'm in the playroom right now, and like if I turn the camera around, like I'd be embarrassed. But it's one of those things where it's like I can still be me. Like yes, it definitely helps elevate my style and I love fashion anyway. But like it helps elevate and recognize things that I didn't recognize. So that's alone for myself entering into the market is like no, I'm fully capable, and it's like I'm coming to the job as everybody does. And so I'm showing up to serve my couples and to also like be professional. So that's one, to not change. Like I didn't have to change who I was. And the Jayla that drops off my three kids at school can be the same Jayla in a different way. That's like professional and goes to a wedding. You know what I'm saying? And then the other one would be just the little things that you guys talked about as far as what to look out for. I mean, there are so many things as far as just a wedding day. Just the chairs and the linens and ways to make a day I mean, be what it is. I feel like in the luxury market, you don't really have to make it be what it is because it is already like the planner does everything. You know what I'm saying? But just recognizing, just giving me the mindset and opening my eyes to be like, oh wow, there are things to be aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
It's kind of like
filmmakers and
raw.
photographers, there's so much more in your control than you really think on a wedding day that can make the wedding feel a little bit more amateur or elevate it to like its best possible like version of itself. Kind of like you said, like the backyard barbecue version of us exists with our stained white t-shirts, but then the gala version of ourselves exists too. And like really trying to make sure every wedding is being presented as the gala version of itself, right? Yeah, there's
Yeah,
so much that's in our control that people don't realize.
for
Yeah.
sure.
And we try to as much as we can because we're still growing in our businesses as well. So it's not like we've like reached our pinnacle of like success. Like we're constantly learning that new layer further and further into the luxury market and helping our students learn how to bridge the gap
For sure.
because I think it's it really does a disservice to just be teaching at the level like that is 6 steps ahead of where these students are. And so I feel like it's even, I was telling Taylor too, like for future masterminds, I'm like, I think that my mission is I want to figure out more ways to show them how to bridge the gap so that no one's left to not know where their next step should be and then where the next step is and where the next step is so that it's not just like, okay, cool, I'm here, but you're telling me this is how I operate and how things work when I'm way over there. What about the journey as I'm trying to get there? And so that's really like a huge thing that we love to incorporate with our students. I hope that like you felt that way, like Jayla supported on that. And it's something too that we would just love to continue to pour into that as well, because the bridging of the gap is huge.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, even hearing you say that, you guys do such a great job. Like, I feel so much more advanced. Like, I know, so I had actually a couple people DM me because they knew I did the mastermind, and some people, were charging like 4,000, 3,000. And I'm like, no, it's not that you have to be at a certain spot. It's not that you have to be at a certain level. You guys don't make it the entry to get into the mastermind is not you have to charge $5,000. You know what I'm saying? Like you are very open to who is involved. And I think if I would have to done this, let's just say 3 years ago when I went full time, I would have been, of course, overwhelmed. But you guys also were so hands on the Facebook group and like you guys respond. It's not one of those things where you sign up for a mentorship and then it's like once the mentorship is over after 3 hours, you have no communication. So I feel like so much can happen in 12 weeks or 8 weeks that like if people are actually applying what you're giving them within 8 to 12 weeks, they're able to ask a question of like, oh my gosh, I just got a planner for the email from a planner for the first time. Or, oh my gosh, I just got an inquiry for a $5,000 wedding. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And there are things that they can do. Example, if there is a wedding and the chairs are like wah wah wah, then here's what you can do, like adjust how you approach it. So no, I think you guys do such a good job, honestly. Like
Thank you.
watching the course at bridging the gap for sure.
Thank
Thanks.
you. No,
That's
and
so
it's
nice
just
to hear.
yeah, and it's so good too when we have that level of trust from the students through and through that they're like, okay, this feels a little different than when I've done before and it feels a little scary and I'm hesitant because it's not what I'm used to, but it's like, no, it's okay. We're right here to tell you like this is the next move for you. We promise you, you'll come out on the other side. We can set down those old tools, pick up these new tools and just build something to get everybody to their fullest potential. That's truly, truly what we want is for whatever the goals are, whether it's to be that premier choice in your local market, the most expensive, the most sought after, the ones where when someone gets engaged, they say like, this is who I want. Or if you're wanting to do more domestic, like domestic travel or even international travel, all the same principles apply. So it's really fun and I love having like students like you, Jayla, that like recognize like, okay, cool. I'm going to take and implement everything and now you're sitting here with an average that's $3,000 more than when you first, kind of did those calculations on your average of 5,700 to now 8,700, which is life changing. I'm sure that you've kind of felt that too. And you said you got more time back and you have your young girls. How old are your girls, by the way?
I've got 2 girls and a boy, so
Okay.
well, they'll be 9, 6, and 3 this fall.
Okay, so
Oh,
ours are
really
like almost
similar.
exactly the same age. Yeah, I have a 9, 7, and 3.
Okay, oh my gosh, yeah, so close. It's busy, but to have like time back, and then to be excited about the work that you do have.
Mhm.
You just can't even put words to that, which I appreciate. And Kelly, you mentioned all the principles. I think you said all the principles align with everybody. You said something along those lines, where it's like all the rules, like everyone can do them. So I love that you said that, because whether you're charging $4,000 or $10,000, if you just continue to like do the roadmap, like you're there.
Yeah. I would love to talk like in the spirit of like bridging the gap. I have a couple questions for you. So the first one is in 5 years from now, like what do you envision or what's your goal for your business?
5 years,
I know
20.
that's like 2030. That feels very abstract.
I would just love, it's a good question. Definitely, sometimes it seems farther away, but consistently an average of 10,000 plus for sure. Like, no question. Like, even with 27 inquiries coming in, it's like, no, I want to be confident and I want to stand my ground and I want to be 10K plus. So, being confident and trusting in my work and my work ethic and the freedom that I want, like trusting on what I want, because that's
Mhm.
going to help me get to maybe like this 5 year goal. I don't know if I've sat down and really, no, I did. It's actually in the workbook. So I should look back. I should have brought that paper. But definitely 10K plus for average. And then just being referred by planners consistently. Like almost to the point where it's like, yeah, couples may reach out, but I want to have these planner relationships where it's just kind of like, what's it called? Not like factory work, but just so consistent of like, okay, I don't even have to like do the work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like my work is good enough. I show up professionally. I care for couples. I love to work with planners. It's a team, having that team mindset. So if Jayla Renee and my business can be known for, no, she's like great. She serves, she shows up, she stays late, like she loves. And yeah, I think that would be cool to just be consistently on the planner basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On their radar, you're their top three of
Yeah.
like who they're pitching to their 7 to 10 clients every single year. Like it's just that beautiful referral system. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. And it's good to have like a North Star too, because that keeps you motivated. Okay, so bridging the gap. I would love to kind of hear, like, because although I love hearing like pats on the back about Mastermind, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Kelly, and I can hear that all day. I would love for the listeners to kind of walk away with some like more tactical, maybe like takeaways here from this episode. And I think you've done just such a beautiful job in your business and you're going to continue to do a beautiful job. So, I mean, we'll say you're like, halfway down that road towards that goal. What has worked for you to get you to this point? And like, kind of what are you setting your sights on to focus on to get yourself to that point where you are averaging above 10,000 every time, getting planner referrals? Like, what's the game plan here? What's been working?
Yeah, I would say I feel like there's so many different approaches. So from like the face of the business, Instagram, website, social media, let's just say, from the face of like my business, just being consistent. I think how I show up, my luxury lifestyle moments, like to post that. And that's a good thing. It's not like I'm making these up. I love to make bread. Okay, well, I show it. Or I love to go to yoga. Like that's been a huge part of my life lately. I do love family vacation. So like showing that, because people do care, because I love my life, I love my family, and the whole reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is to have freedom in that. You know what I'm saying? And because yes, I love what I do. So to show bits of that, but also in the face of my work, showing what I want more of. So it's not showing everything. And so many people in the industry, some of like my friends in the industry, they want to show everything, and that's not a bad thing. But I recognize that that may also not get me to this 5 year goal. So recognizing that it's okay. Yes, every wedding matters. Yes, every marriage matters, but that doesn't mean I have to show it. So I think the face of the business definitely is going to help, get those couples and get those planners on my radar. Then I'd say from just like the business side of it, constantly telling myself like, no, this is what I want my average to be. So like, again, the business, I have to tell myself all the time, I'm like, yes, I'm an artist, but like business, Jayla, business. And it's harder for me at first. I'm getting better at it, but it's like, no, this is a business and I want to prosper and I want to have freedom. And with that comes knowing how to have consistent emails and how the verbiage sounds and how I'm being professional. So it's like the back end. So it's like the face and then the back end, I think just go hand in hand. And you have to be consistent with both. Because if like I'm being, let's just say lazy in my emails to planners, well, that's not professional. Even though I may be posting, 3 times a week, well, Jayla's like super slow to the email. Well, that's terrible, So being consistent with the back end of the business, knowing what my goals are, breaking down the average, and being professional when it comes to consultation calls.
What are your plans for building those planner relationships? I feel like that was a big part of your goal.
Yes, I would say writing down the ones that I like. I have a little app on my notes. I have an app of all the planners that I'd love to work with and just liking their stuff, commenting on their things, not all the time, but it definitely is. It's definitely more of a long game. I feel like the face of your business is so quick. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this, the website refresh, like I got my Instagram, curated. But the planner relationship, it's a long game because one, they care so much about the couples and they want to trust you, and building that trust with anybody, right? It just takes time. So the consistent likes, the consistent comments, the consistent DMs, and then at that point it gets into like the email, the cold call, which is like my hands sweat, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, they may never respond, but some do. Like you'd be shocked because I had one respond, and she was like so grateful that I did. And I think when we listened to Jose on the mastermind, he kind of said something along the lines of they almost want you to shoot them straight sometimes. He said something along those lines, and I was like, oh yeah, they just want like your genuine self. If you want to work with them, obviously start to build that trust with Instagram and things like that. But it's not like, okay, send them a Starbucks gift card. It's beyond that,
Yeah.
But it does take time. So that's the long game. And that's why I think 5 years, I mean, it may be less, but that just like, it'll just take time to get there.
Yeah. I think it's going to take you a lot sooner than you think to get to where you want. Like I'm seeing this in like a next 24 months goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 24
Thanks.
months. Yeah. So good.
It'll be
So
fun.
good.
I'd say at large, it would be fun to do more, like I say, destination, maybe not necessarily international, but definitely in different states. Like Michigan has things to offer, but it is an interesting concept when you say like, no, you can in a way price out of markets. But I think Kelly, you may have said this, or Taylor, one of you also said there's also money in every pocket, of every state. So I think part of me was like, I have to get out, to get into this market. I have to get out of Michigan. Oh no, that's like such a lie. I booked like my first 12K wedding in Michigan, like a week after like Mastermind was done. And I'm like, oh, it exists.
Okay, I would love to know then, how then did this just like come about that it existed for you? Because I'm sure that there's people sitting here being like, no, I am so certain that luxury does not live in my area. What was it that like allowed for you to see that it did exist and then also to like get that call for that 12K booking?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I saw that it could exist when I saw the planners that are actually based in Michigan or simply the Midwest. Because photographers who are based in Michigan, but a lot of their work then began to just be international or destination, where I'm like, okay, well then surely it's not in Michigan. But then when I started to really niche down on the planners who I know that they live in Michigan, I'm like, okay, no, then it does exist because I know that you're doing these elaborate weddings. So I think that was a huge part for me.
You're just looking in the wrong ways. Like I feel like sometimes it's because the like ecosystem that we're operating in, you're only looking so far. So like year 1 through 5 of my business, I was just looking at it as far as like, where the venues were. And then like
Yeah.
the venues only capped you at so much. And I was putting like so much of my like referral game into like attaching my brand wagon to the venues. And then
Yeah.
like it was like, okay, well that's all it is. Like it's just that's what it is. And I know Taylor, you did something very similar in your Sacramento market when you were building. It was all about like which venues and which photographers you were working with. And then as you did price yourself out of that local market. And so then you just
Yeah.
broadened it out by 1 or 2 hours and it opened up a whole new world of possibilities for you.
I actually don't know if I've told this little mini story on the podcast, but in maybe like 2021, I was working at Park Winners, which if you're in Northern California, you probably know what that is. It's a great venue. I love it. But it's like a wedding factory, which is great for them, like as a business model. I think that's a great business model for a venue, but for me, less inspiring. Anyway, I was working with this planner, and I remember having this very real conversation at the time. Maybe it's 2022, because at the time I charged that client like $8,700, and I remember being as a videographer, and I was like, I really want to start at 10. Like, do you think that's possible? And she was like, not in Sacramento. No, it's not possible. I don't think so. And I was like, okay, all right. I guess like you're probably more of an authority. Um, I still was able to squeak out a couple like here and there in Sacramento, like, probably just like whenever people have budgets. But yeah, it's crazy. I would just drive an extra hour and now all of a sudden I can charge $25,000. Like it's like night and day. But having those conversations, I talk a lot about this in the mastermind, but I'll give you guys a little kind of glimpse into my mind. I'm always asking people about budgets and money and like stuff like that at weddings. Like every photographer I work with, I'm like, what did you charge for this one? And then I'll share mine too. Like it's like not just like me hoarding information. Like I want to exchange. But asking the planner, like, do you think I can charge this? And then she was very real. She's like, no, you need to look to like these two locations. But having those conversations, and I do think there's a lot of power in like like kind of the rising tide lifts all boats thing. Like if everyone together elevates their work and their brand and their prices, like it's easier for everyone to succeed in whatever market you're in as well. But sometimes just like taking the glasses off and looking outside your bubble. Like I think I was only looking at the photographers I was working with and the venues I was working at. I didn't know like about this whole other world. And it sounds like the same for you, Jayla. Like as soon as you like took those blinders off, you're like, oh, this world exists, but I didn't realize that. And then full circle moment, this planner, I just worked a wedding with her this last weekend. And the budget was like close to $1 million. And then she also came to like an hour outside of Sacramento, like to be able to like access that market, if that makes any sense. So it's like we're all doing it together. We're all doing it together.
Yeah. Because she's based in Sacramento, right?
I actually don't know where they live. I think so. I mean, that was their primary market, so it would make sense. But I've never asked for like their address. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Like most people don't know where I live either.
Yeah, and it is fun to like piggyback off that is like people also don't need to know, I'm from Kalamazoo, like this small little town where it's like, but you got Chicago and Detroit 2 hours east and west, which those markets are like so much bigger than, what's in my little area and northern Michigan, which is like beautiful. So it is, we're all looking. I like that you said that. Again, that kind of goes back to just like everyone, I think everyone is, everyone can do it. Anyone can do it. I feel like it truly is just if you want to do it, and if you want to put the work into it, because it is work. It's not just like a snap of your finger. It truly is like, no, you have to put in work if you want your goals to like, if you want to see your goals come to pass.
I think it's worth it. I think it's totally worth it. Go for it. What do you think is holding a lot of people back from like pursuing that?
I think a big one is recognizing what the luxury market actually is, because people are just now what I walked through from 2021 to since I started Mastermind, like just kind of within that time frame of trying to get to this luxury market. I think there's so much talk about what it is. And like, yeah, some people were so right after recognizing what it actually is, but some people were also like so wrong. Or the concept of like, well, every wedding is luxury. Or, every wedding just like this phrase of like it's just so foofy, kind of just like just this fluffy concept where it's like, okay, well, you definitely aren't going to get into it actually if you just have like this fluffy concept of like what the luxury market actually is. Like it's an actual thing. It's like tangible. And so it's like it goes from like here to like no, this is like a solid um like this is like a tangible thing you can actually achieve. Um so I think that, but also business, like the concept of business and money talk, like I said, it's just so hard. So if people are just so stuck on like, well, there's no way, like I would never pay a photographer $10,000 to shoot my wedding. Well, heck, I wouldn't either. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like my husband will look at me and roll his eyes and be like, yeah, no, that's why we didn't, like, so it's one of those things where you think that you have to be like a person of like luxury, if you will, or have all this money, or think that you have to pay someone $10,000 to shoot your wedding, but you don't. So I think people are just stuck, and then they just kind of go into all the A through Z again, and then they just kind of
They're on that
Yeah.
Candyland board.
What
yeah.
what you said was so true. And I think that is a big misconception where people think, okay, well, I didn't grow up in maybe, say, a household that would invest this type of money in an event. Therefore, how could I ever operate in that level of the market that we didn't know? And we tell them like Taylor and I grew up very middle class, like very middle class. I had no idea. I think I had heard of one girl that was a few years older than me in high school that paid $100,000 for her wedding. And I thought that that was absolutely bonkers. And that was like not the norm. And no one did that. And I just like thought that because like that was my reality growing up. And I think it's a lot of people who are listening right now. That's a lot of our realities. Not a lot of us came from, you know, high net wealth families with generational wealth like our clients are, but that's not to say that we can't serve those clients really well and operate in their world capturing these incredible events. We just have to learn the language. We just have to learn the mannerisms. We have to learn the etiquette. It's a little bit more of that learned skill. And we talk a lot about that too with our students because Taylor and I have had to learn it along the way. We made a lot of mistakes along the way. We want to make sure that we are giving the students everything to succeed so that no toes are stepped on, no wrists are slapped, all those things, so that you're just showing up confident and able to really operate and execute these wedding days really well. Even when there's these higher levels of production, there's more of an investment spend. You're just speaking the language and you're fitting right in.
Yeah, I mean, preparedness equals confidence. And people like to work with confident people. They don't like to work with people who are like second guessing every move or like very clearly like uncomfortable. But you don't gain that confidence by like speaking affirmations into the mirror. You gain the confidence by being prepared.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. This is like side note, and sorry to my mother-in-law who listens to the podcast. It may be embarrassing that I'm going to share this story. But we were talking about, she got invited to a gala by someone they spend summer in Montana. And so they were going to be attending this gala in Montana. And she was like, well, what do I wear? And the girl sent like the theme and like how formal it was. And she was like, wow, I didn't know that like this level of formality ever existed in Montana. And then she was talking too about they went to a luxury wedding. My father-in-law's a football coach, high school football coach. And so he coached a kid that has gone on to play. I believe he's with the Dolphins now, but at the time he was with the 49ers. And so they had a really beautiful wedding in the South and invited them. And my mother-in-law said later that when she got to the event, what she thought was like a formal enough dress because again, how we grew up in what people wore to weddings, the formality of those events were just so different. She was saying that she showed up and was like, I was so embarrassed. I looked around and I kid you not, I was the only woman in not a floor length dress. And I didn't know that that's like what the etiquette was of that. And I was like, exactly. I mean, like, I was like, how we grew up and the peers of ourselves and our friend groups, like guys didn't even wear suits to weddings. So then when it came time for us to get into the wedding industry, we didn't know that Paul needed to wear a suit because like our worldview of what weddings were was so vastly different, and we had to learn it along the way. And she was like, yeah, exactly. Like we just didn't know like these different layers of stuff. And so
I've been to so many weddings where men are wearing jeans and then like a vest and like a dress shirt, but jeans, and we're eating off styrofoam plates. Like that's where I grew up in the like wedding world. So far cry from like a five course plated meal and floor length gowns for sure. Like, and you just wouldn't know, but we're here to teach you.
And that's the thing.
yeah.
You just don't know. And I think there's so many things. Like you guys just get down to like you get down to like the ant size details that I feel like so many people like don't. You know what I'm saying? So it does seem so big and it does seem so unattainable, but when you can get down to like these little details, the floor length dresses, the chairs, the five-course meal, like it's those things that just even open up your mind to be like, oh, that is a real thing. And then like, okay, when I'm on Instagram, what am I looking for? Is the planner, are some of the planners posting this? Or some photographers that I look up to, are they at weddings that show this? I think it just really helps when you are on social media or looking up planners or with other photographers or couples. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you like understand the language.
Yeah.
And it is foreign, right? Like it for me, like that the luxury language is so foreign, and I'm still learning. But once you start to learn, like you pick up on it. You pick up on it, and then you are able. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear my text going on.
Coming
Um,
through on the computer. No worries.
um, so yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's just a foreign language that you have to learn, but you guys do such a good job at like looking at those small details that no one that I have never honestly that I have never heard before.
This is a big reason why we get people who like ask us all the time, like, do you do hour long like mentor calls? Like, will you do
Yeah.
that? And like, that's why Kelly and I, like, our default answer is no. Like, we just can't help you the way that you need to be helped in an hour or even in 2 hours. Like, really, like, we want to, this sounds like so weird, but we want to literally touch every single part of your business and your mindset and the way you approach everything, because that's the only thing that's going to like ensure your results. Like, we can't just be like, here's what I would do with your proposals and portfolio, because it leaves so much out. Like, there's so much, like, to your point, like the granular details that they really all add up. It's like drops in the bucket that all of a sudden the bucket's full. Like, it feels insignificant each little bit in its own, but it adds up so much in the grand scheme of things. And so we can't do that in an hour with you. We have to do it over.
No. Yeah, and also, like, even if we were to speed dash through everything and be like, "This needs to change to here. This is why this number needs to be here. This needs to not be in the collection. This needs to be in the collection." All this stuff, and then they're like, "Well, why?" Like, we could probably maybe like speed through and give you like, but then it probably wouldn't. As I, from my experience of people, they need to know the why. They need to understand the mindset behind it. They really, truly need to know how this level of clientele operates on just a mindset level, and how they're used to operating with businesses in their own personal lives, and how your business needs to be a really great reflection of the same way of how they're used to walking in and hiring a landscape designer for their vacation home in Lake Tahoe and whatever. So it's so much deeper than just saying, here, do this, do this, do this. Yes, we'll do that, but we break it down as to why, so that you understand the whole process.
Yeah, it's like anyone can talk about a proposal and what to add and take away, but like that's also not sharing how to have etiquette. Or
Yeah.
like you said, there is just it's so large, it's so vast, and it made me feel like what's that phrase? You feel like you're drinking from a fire hydrant or whatever. I definitely felt that for the first couple weeks. I was like, oh my gosh. And for me, for someone who's I feel like been pursuing this for 3 years, I'm like, okay, wow, this is way more than what I thought, but I knew that I was just gonna run with it because I'm like, okay, like then now that I know, it's almost like once you know it's your responsibility. And so I feel like that really is what sets people apart, but you are so true. It may feel like the blinders are fully off, but I just love that you guys aren't shy to talk about it.
Mhm.
And you're also currently doing it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's
Mhm.
something that also sets you guys apart is like you are also currently like in the market and you have worked your way up to, to doing it, which I love.
Yeah, we get so many questions about that. I would say the biggest questions that we get are like, are you guys actually still shooting weddings? The answer is yes. We're still in it. And I think that's so important, especially in just a really fast paced moving industry that changes so much. It's so important to have leaders who are like literal boots on the ground with where you want to go, that they can see your direction ahead and how things are shifting in the market. And then the next point is like, okay, so you teach how to get to $10,000. How many of the weddings that you do are actually $10,000? Because she's like, I've talked to some people that have like been like, I'll teach you how to do it because I've done it a couple of times. And I think Taylor, you take a lot of those and you're like, I haven't, I mean, my average for 2025 was 17.7. So, and then Taylor, what was your average?
I'm ashamed to say I don't know. I booked a last minute one and I haven't like worked that one into my average, but we actually had an email from somebody who asked this question. She did end up joining Mastermind, but she's like, I just want to like be sure. And so I sent her screenshots of like all my Dubsado stuff, and I'm like, see, I it's a lot. It's all of them. All of them are above 10,000. Um, but no, it's good to know. And actually, like that's why we live in like a very like receipt world. Like I feel like it's easy to like say whatever. And so we're very intentional with like I want to show that like green little bar where it's like shows the invoice price and like signed, like contract signed. I want to show, all of these things. Because and that's why we on our like sales page for Mastermind, if you are interested in learning more about Mastermind, you can go to the levelupco.com/mastermind. But that's why like all of our testimonials are like screenshots of people's DMs, because you could literally like type whatever you want onto a website. Like you can be like, this program was so amazing, dash Samantha, who doesn't exist. Like, so we're like seeing like all of these dozens of people who have like sung the praises and like shown results. Like I respond better to seeing that it's like real and legit, like understanding that there's people out there who are sadly like not trustworthy. So anyway, so that's why we like go down that road. But yeah, no, and Kelly and I are learning too. Like we seek out our own mentorships. We have our own communities where we are constantly being poured into. We attend things like Engage, so that we are like really like our hands are in the educational world, making sure we're consuming things so that we can then apply to our own businesses and then teach what we've just learned and applied to. So like it's like a never ending thing. Like the education, it just goes round and round and round. And we just want like everyone to like I'm like, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm making like gestures with my hands where I'm like pulling you with a rope. Like we just want to like pull you with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Jayla, any final thoughts on just your goals, what you've experienced, and if there's anyone out there that is kind of feeling stuck, what would be your best advice? And it does not have to be a part of Mastermind or anything, but what would be your best advice on for someone, I guess, feeling stuck and wanting to just have a clear vision of where they can go and what's possible for them?
Yeah, okay, mastermind aside then, because I'm just like grateful for what truly mastermind got me to and where it will continue to, because it's things that I can apply forever. So, mastermind aside, I'd say that it's possible to whoever feels stuck and whoever feels like this market or the next market that they want to get into, it's totally possible and it is tangible if you just stay consistent and if you do seek out. I mean, it may be mentorship, it may be more education, it may be shadowing under a photographer who or a videographer, who has done higher end weddings. It's like it's being consistent and showing up the way that you want to be received and showing up in a way that whatever you post is what you're almost going to get. So just be aware. It sounds like a lot and it may feel like a lot, but you do just have to make tiny shifts, like tiny pivots. It's not, I feel like you don't have to go a whole, like, you don't have to fully like go the other way. I feel like if you just stay on course and I think redirect little ways, whether it be, I don't know, increase your price by $500 and see what happens. Little things like that, then I think like sky's the limit if you just stay consistent and keep your goals in front of you.
Love, 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 love. It's been so cool to watch just the transformation, even in the last 6 months for you. And we're so excited to see just all of you just hitting your goals every step of the way. And just know that Taylor and I are going to be like peering in on everything. And we're probably gonna be chatting about you on our walks when we see your wins. So we're just so grateful for you and the fact that we've got to coach you. And it's just been really fun. If the listeners are sitting here and they're like, Jayla sounds awesome, and I want to see her also continue to scale in the industry, where can they find you online?
Yes, Instagram for sure at Jayla Renee. So the name is just Jayla Renee Photo. That's going to be the most consistent, I feel like. If you just kind of want to walk along with me in the journey that I've been on, it'd be great to connect with you if you follow me.
Amazing. Thanks, Jayla.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys.
Thank you for joining us in today's conversation. Please help us reach more filmmakers and photographers like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it to social media. And don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.